The universe loves to align for Trisha Paytas, doesn't it? Some of y'all are out there, as a Trisha fan, hating on the name Aquaman, and y'all, just wait. Everything Trisha does is absolutely iconic, and one of these days you're going to be eating your words. Club Crave, you are a member of Club Crave. Thanks for joining. And hello, everyone. Welcome to the Club Crave podcast. My name is Nick Williams. It's episode 5, y'all. Oh, hey, over there. How you guys doing? I never know where to put the other camera. I'm like, this is a cute angle. And we have over here. Got to get all the angles. Anyways, I just wanted to come on here. I just coming on here real quick to say hi. No, it's a whole hour-long podcast episode. I hope you all are ready to kind of just hang out and kiki with me here. I'm all alone today. Oops. Awkward. I think I just knocked over a light. Yes. Anyways, we are talking about all things Aquaman today. It's been that thing that's kind of been on my mind all week. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are very confused by the name Aquaman, and they do not get it. They don't get Trisha. They think she's nuts. Why would you ever name your kid Aquaman? Well, we're here to dive into the lore of it all. And for Trisha fans, also, we're going to talk about, some of y'all are out there, as a Trisha fan, hating on the name Aquaman. And y'all, just wait. Everything Trisha does is absolutely iconic. And one of these days, you're going to be eating your words. Aquaman's going to be an icon. With a name like that, how could he not be, But anyways, oh my God. I have a timer on, so I will start the camera over because it stops recording every 30 minutes. And that just scared the shite out of me. Anyways, I'll be right back. Okay, besties, we are back here. I wanted to talk about, actually, hang on. I always forget, we got to do the intro. For those of you who are new to the Club Crave podcast, let me kind of just tell you about it, and maybe you'll be interested to just continue listening along. Obviously, we're getting into Trisha's babies today, but the Club Crave podcast in general, this is where we talk about all the weird and wild stuff happening on the internet. If you love pop culture, if you love YouTubers, influencers of any genre, this is the place for you. Every week, we're going to dive into different corners of the internet. We still have a lot planned, and I'm kind of saving different corners of the internet for a specific time, because I have guests in mind that have actually expressed interest, who are a part of these different corners of the internet. So if you want to hit subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. I know that's annoying that people always ask that, but it really does support small creators like me. I think I've got like 250 subscribers right now, and I'm trying to run that number up, y'all. So if you're enjoying, it doesn't hurt anybody. Just hit that little button. Yeah, so we have guests. We also have influencers on. We're manifesting it by saying, yes, we do have influencers on this podcast, but I do have some that have, again, expressed interest. So, and I would look out for that in the next couple of weeks. A really exciting guest planned. Actually, I've got 2 very exciting guests planned. So, also, let's see. Is there anything else I should throw out there? Oh, yes. We have a hotline, which we're going to throw in some calls at the end of this video, react to some calls. So it's called the Hot Girl Crashout Hotline.
If you're crashing out and you need to whine, call the Hot Girl Crashout Hotline.
And we have a new jingle. So get ready every week to just listen to that jingle and get excited for the hotline with us. And yeah, that's our show. We hang out here, we kiki, we talk about the things that we love on the internet. I'm personally a huge fan of Taylor Swift and Trisha Paytas, and I run a fan account for Oscar Gracie, who is the co-host of the Just Trish podcast. And that's kind of how I've been incorporated into this world. And I created this fan account, and I went on tour, not on tour. I went to a lot of the shows. I wish I went on tour with Trish. I would absolutely love that. Call me for your next tour, Trish. I love to do interviews, boots on the ground at every show. I'll drop everything I'm doing for you, girl. Every chance I get, I say that because you never know when the queen is watching. And I just kind of feel like I know what her audience likes. I know because I am her audience. So I kind of would just make whatever I think would be fun to consume. You know what I mean? So, anyways, yeah, I went to 5 different shows. I did boots on the ground interviews. Actually, I want to include some here in this video because I asked a lot of people at the LA show, at the Atlanta show, and I think maybe at the Denver show. I asked their name predictions for the baby. So I would love to kind of put some of those in there in this video, as this video is all about Aquaman today. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Aquaman. We're going to talk about Jason Momoa. We're going to talk about Moses and his connection with water. We're going to get into all of it. So stick around. I don't know why I was just going to try to do an ad break in here. We are a new podcast. We don't have ads. I was going to say, stick around and we'll be right back. Maybe one day, if you're out there, you've got a little side hustle. You sell stickers on Etsy. You want to send me $50 to shout you out? Girl, I got you. Let me know. Anyways, can you tell I'm getting a little bit more comfortable here on the podcast? Just kind of saying whatever the hell comes to my mind. I think that's what people enjoy more anyways. I've been so nervous the past few episodes, and now I feel like I'm finally chilling out, calming down, and just kind of doing my thing. So anyways, let's get into it, okay? So on July 12th of 2025, Trisha Paytas went into labor. Trisha went into some, details on her most recent episode of her podcast about how it was a complicated birth. You can go watch that if you want more details. I think she even said she's going to make another video that kind of goes into it more because it is kind of a triggering topic for some people. So she was going to do a separate video that people wouldn't watch, obviously, if they're sensitive to that topic. But yeah, she had the baby. And yesterday, well, I guess today is Sunday when I'm posting this, but hopefully I posted it on Sunday. On July 22nd, Tuesday, she announced the baby name as Aquaman. Y'all, I think maybe 5% of us guessed Aquaman. I saw a lot of wild guesses, and Aquaman barely ever came up, y'all. Okay, so some of the guesses that I saw, a lot of people were rooting and campaigning for Papermate, which, iconic. Papermate, isn't Papermate a pen brand, or it makes stationery and stuff like that? I think that's crazy. Squishy. What else did she say? Oh, lemon. Trisha said those. She's like, I like lemon, squishy, Papermate. She is such a diva and a troll sometimes, which we love. Jaws, that was my guess. I was all for Jaws, 100% for Jaws. So, yeah, I just felt like that name really went hard. And Trish, a few weeks ago, said on the podcast that the name that they are picking, there's a lot of weird coincidences with it, or I guess maybe a lot of signs that made them feel like this is the right decision. And I did some research. I did some FBI investigating, and I was adamant that it was Jaws. If you look back at my Oscar Crave TikToks, I posted 4 or 5 different times. One of them actually got over like or almost 2 million views or something like that. It went pretty viral because I think it started to make sense, right? Because Trish is like, there's weird coincidences. And then I revealed my, findings. And Jaws' 50th anniversary was this year. And this week is Shark Week. I was like, okay, those are perfect coincidences and signs that Trisha would be like, okay, that makes sense. The universe is telling me to name the baby Jaws. The coincidences for Aquaman were a lot different, and actually a lot more romantic and meaningful. So that makes a lot more sense that they went with Aquaman. But I thought I was onto something, y'all. We also saw a lot of Poseidon, Ponyo. My husband actually dressed up as Ponyo when we met Trish. Actually, that picture is just me and Trish. I didn't include the one with me and my husband. Oops. But I can put that up on the screen. He dressed up as Ponyo because that was his guess. Actually, I was supposed to wear my Jaws shirt underneath that pink jacket. And I was just like, ew, it's not working. The pink with the green neon or whatever, it just doesn't look cute. If you saw my last TikTok, there was a really weird coincidence that happened, y'all, with Jaws. So, yeah. Or sorry, a weird coincidence happened with. So if you go back on my TikTok, I posted a video right after she announced Aquaman because I was shook by the name Aquaman, and then thinking, oh my god, Aquaman, that's Jason Momoa. Trish loves Jason Momoa. Oh my god, I just found out that my pink jacket that I wore when I met Trish was a replica of the jacket that Jason Momoa's character wore in Minecraft movie. Isn't that crazy, y'all? I was shocked. I'll play my TikTok here because I feel like I explained it better in the TikTok. But anyways, with that weird coincidence happening and everything, I was like, damn, I wish I would have told Trish, that I had just found out that I was wearing a replica of Jason Momoa's jacket because I know you love Jason Momoa. I feel like she would have taken that as another sign, as, okay, we should go with Aquaman. You know what I mean? Anyways, just weird stuff with the universe. Whenever anything involves Trish, the universe is wilding out, is doing weird stuff. There's a lot of weird connections. It really is wild. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. You can't dramatize it either. Like, it's legit weird coincidences that are happening. Trisha, does anyone know what's going on? Also, we got to keep going down the list of names, but Ozzy Osbourne died the same day she announced it. I mean, and freaking Jason Momoa hosted Ozzy Osbourne's final concert a few weeks ago. Just like, y'all, I'm exhausted by all of the coincidences and how the universe weirdly aligns with Trisha's life. It's crazy. Okay, so some other names that I saw. I saw Free Willy, The Little Mermaid. Well, not The Little Mermaid. I guess it would have been, people were guessing Flounder and Sebastian. Percy Jackson, Moby Dick, Ocean's 11. I also saw Ocean Spray. So yeah, just a lot of weird names being thrown out there. I mean, none of them would have been that weird for Trish to name, her son. Aquaman, that's a good one. I think it's great. Also, everyone's worried about Aquaman getting bullied as he grows up. But I just think that people are starting to name their babies more unique names nowadays. So Aquaman's maybe will sound a little bit unique compared to all the other names, but it's not going to sound that out of left field. You know what I mean? Also, I'm pretty sure they've decided to homeschool. So hopefully that lessens the risk of being around kids that are mean. But it's also like, why are we focused on how you should name your child and not teach your children to behave better and not bully kids for having a unique name? You know what I mean? Aquaman's cute. And also, he may just end up going by Moses. Moses Jr. is really cute. Okay, I've got to talk about this crazy TikTok I saw. This guy, like, he says, I've always knew it was going to be Aquaman because Elvis Presley apparently was on the set of Aquaman in Malibu, California. I'm like, what? Why would that be the case? Trish has never once mentioned that ever, and I've never heard of that in my life. So I was shocked by that. And I did some research and I can't find anything about it, y'all. I was hoping to tell you, yeah, I did research and it's true. Trish didn't tell us because she wants that, to be a secret, and I uncovered it here. Real journalism here on the Club Crave podcast, but that's not the case. That's not what happened. His theory, I think, was that like they tried to make Aquaman way back, and never got released, and like Elvis was supposed to play Aquaman or something like that, and they were filming it on the beach in Malibu. I have no idea. I think that guy was just trying to go viral or something. Because I couldn't find anything. But y'all do some research on your own, prove me wrong, but I couldn't find a thing. But I was just like, oh my God, like what a crazy thing if that were real, right? Like that would just be another crazy thing that happens with the universe aligning whenever Trish has a big moment in her life. So the universe loves to align for Trisha K. Paytas, doesn't it? So I wanted to talk about Malibu and Elvis a little bit. So Trisha always knew that she was gonna have two babies and they were gonna be Malibu and Elvis. She'd have a boy and a girl. Well, she ended up having two girls, and she said, you know what, I'm gonna name my second Elvis. Elvis is actually like such a cute name for a girl. I think, what they were saying on the podcast is very true. It sounds weird at first, and then all of a sudden it's like, that is a perfect name. You know what I mean? Elvis is so cute. Malibu is like so precious, and it feels so normal to say, you know what I mean? Aquaman, on the other hand, is going to take a little bit longer, I think, for us all to adjust to. I feel like I'm doing great with it. It's grown on me already. And I think it's different. It's unique, and it means a lot to Trisha and Moses. It's wild. I'm not going to act like it's not a wild name. But again, there's so many rules about life. You know what I mean? Like, why do we put all these rules on life? Name your kid Papermate. Who cares? There's so many rules, like how a man should dress and how a woman should dress. And we're all humans. We're all water. We're fluid. Quit trying to make life too complicated and hard. You know what I mean? Life is already hard as it is. And y'all out here complaining or like sending hate to Trisha for naming her baby Aquaman. There's a lot of other things going on in the world right now. Why are you getting pressed over a baby's name? Your energy is being wasted. Call your representatives. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot going on. Turn on the TV for a second. Call your representatives. If you got some hate, I know the place where you can channel that. Okay. Call me. Let me know. I'll show you where you can send your hate to. Okay. Because saying it to Trisha is not going to do you any good, because Trisha already doesn't care what you have to think. She doesn't see the hate comments because those most of the time get muted from her view. And they named their baby Aquaman. They did it because it's wild. They know it's wild. They knew it was going to ruffle some feathers and freak people out and piss people off. Why is it pissing people off? It's not your baby. I don't know why people are pissed off. But anyways, But yeah, this all comes back to like Moses and his love for water, right? So Trisha's had the first two babies' names picked out, and you know this was Moses' turn to kind of name the baby of something more related to him and what he wanted. Um, and of course, since it's Trisha's baby, it had to be something wild and out there. It couldn't just be like Wave. I'm trying to think of like what's like a normal name that would be water related. I can't think of one. Cane, like hurricane. Um, meniscus. I can't think of any other names. Anyway, um, Trisha has long said, and Moses says this too, that water, they identify as it's a very spiritual thing. It's cleansing. It's fluid. It's always flowing and it's moving, and it's a beautiful thing. That they share, and I mean, Moses literally like is an artist and photographs water. He like creates like these like cameras and finds this technology to like I don't know if it's like the molecules of the water or what he's photographing, but they are really pretty. If I can find some, I'll put them up. Um, so yeah, Moses has just always been on the water game. You know what I mean? Oh, that's another one I saw, Water Boy. It's like that's crazy. I love that like it ended up being Aquaman, which feels like Water Boy, just different words for the same thing. Um, Also, I wrote down here that I want to talk about. Oh, what was it? Oh, the Ozzy Osbourne stuff. Ozzy Osbourne died the same day that Trisha had her baby. Isn't that crazy? Or no, he died when she announced the baby. So, um, people said, he's back. Is Ozzy Osbourne back? We don't know. Aquaman gives rock star energy, so maybe he's back. Love to see it. Maybe Ozzy waking up as a Trisha Paytas' baby. That's crazy to think that Ozzy Osbourne could have just passed away and woke up and he's in the arms of Trisha Paytas as a baby. Oh my god, that's crazy visual. But it could have happened. So, you know what, y'all? There's a lot of like this reincarnation thing. I really feel like it's real. I think there's a lot of like weird evidence of it. Like when you hear of stories of like random little kids around the world, like saying, I used to be an old lady in London, and they have an accent. And they like have stories of their children and stuff. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Isn't that crazy? So reincarnation, there's something to that for sure. Um, all right, y'all, we are going to get into now the Hot Girl Crashout Hotline. Let me play the clip. I hope you're excited for today's calls. If you're stressed, you've got something to crash out about, give us a call. Numbers on the screen. You know what to do. Literally anything. We keep it vague for a reason. We want you to just crash out about absolutely anything, okay? I think Papermate got thrown out there so much. Actually, my husband had this theory. Papermate got thrown out there so much because they wanted something that sounded so bizarre that when we finally heard what the name was, it's like, okay, it's a relief a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, that's so true. She would do that. Like I want to do Aquaman. I love the name, but people are going to find it crazy. Let's like concoct a plan where we come up with a name that's like very bizarre. How about, and they look around the room and they see Papermate pin. Papermate, perfect. And they go with that. Um, And yeah, when I heard Aquaman, didn't sound as wild as Papermate to me. And as that one person said on TikTok that I saw, some people are named Earl, so Aquaman is going to be just fine. um, okay, y'all, we are going to get into the Hot Girl Crashout Hotline. Hit it.
If you're crashing out and you need to whine, call the Hot Girl Crashout Hotline.
I hope you loved our new little jingle there. Thank you, Fiverr. I found this girl on there and I was like, I just wanted a little jingle, something fun to get us into the segment because I do feel like the segment's going well. We're getting quite a bit of callers, so much that like I can't even hardly fit them all into the episode. That's why I'm starting this a little bit early because I want to get some more calls in, more than just one or two. You know what I mean? So let's get into it. Thanks for calling, everyone. I'll put the number up on the screen if you want to give us a call. Crash out about anything. You know, we keep it vague for a reason. We want you to just crash out. You know, I think it's great to call. I hope somebody called and crashed out about Trisha's baby's name. When it got announced, that would be great. But we will see here. But yeah, like I was gonna say, call about anything going on in pop culture. Call about, you know, if you need advice in your romantic life, we've gotten a lot of calls about that. And honestly, I kind of love being your little love guru. It's fun. I feel like I've been giving good advice. So yeah, call us. And I know like probably a lot of people out there call not love line, but they never get to the call because I'm sure they get a lot of calls. So, you know, we're definitely more likely to be heard here on the Club Crave podcast. So give us a call and you know, maybe like the Timu version of not love line. But I will do my best to give you good advice. Our first call, let's see what we got.
Hi, Nick. So basically, I need to crash out a little because I have a friend who hooks up with every man I introduce her to. I brought her into my guy friend group, and all of them had a thing for her at some point. Some of them have hooked up with her. It made the friend group weird. I introduced her to my boyfriend's cousin. They hooked up. I introduced her to my cousin. She flirted with him. I shut it down because I was like, girl, that's my cousin. And so nothing happened. But I'm like, it makes me a little uncomfortable. Am I wrong for this? Like, it's like every man I've introduced her to ever. Like, I'm like, this is just a little bit frustrating. I think, yes, it does stem from a place of like, it makes me feel like, oh, they like her more than me because they obviously all are trying to hook up with her, do the thing, whatever. And it's like, I don't know. It's so weird. And I want your opinion on this. Like, I don't know. Just what should I do? I'm crashing out a little bit. I'm going a little bit crazy. I'm like, girl, I don't, like, it's making me want to be like, I don't ever want to introduce you to anyone I know ever again. So what do you think? What should I do? Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Oh, I love you. Thank you for calling. That's a hard one. I want to say I wish I like related to that. The only thing I can kind of say that I relate to is just like, you know, being gay growing up and having like my girlfriends, they all had men in their lives, you know, and there was little old me, single old me. So like, I think that's like the only way I can somewhat sort of relate is just like being the single one while your friends are hooking up and getting together with people. And it's frustrating because you're just like, okay, when's it going to be my turn? But this adds on a whole other layer where she's hooking up with like close friends and like trying to flirt with your cousin and stuff. You know, it gets to that point where it's like, okay, you are starting to like damage our friend group because of it. If it makes things awkward, then yeah, I definitely think talk to her about it. Like, hey, listen, you've got a tendency that, and listen, it's not going to be an easy conversation to have. But you know, I think it's important to set boundaries with people, and I think it's important to tell them how you feel. And you know, you're calling in, crashing out, which this is the place to do it. And thanks for trusting me with giving you some advice here, but my advice would definitely be to talk to her. And you know what? I'm totally cool with people sleeping around, doing whatever they want to do. I think, have fun. But when you're like sleeping with everyone in your friend group and like making things feel weird for everyone else, that's not a good friend. And I don't know if she necessarily knows that she's not being a good friend, so you might have to just tell her that. Yeah, she probably just thinks of it, as her just having fun and being flirty and like, she's young, she's living her best life, you know what I mean? So, but it's important to say, hey, and you're not going to be like, I don't know, it's not like you ruining her party or like being a bummer or anything like that. It's you just being real with how you feel. And if she is truly your friend, she will hear you out, okay? So talk to her about it for real. I don't think you're wrong for thinking that she's wrong for doing that because, again, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, every time we bring somebody around, you just so happen to like get in bed with them or, start dating them and then breaking up with them and making things awkward with the friend group. Yeah, that's not cool. They have the bro code. And there's a girls' code too, and she broke the girls' code on that. I think so. Just tell her, be honest with her. Again, not going to be an easy conversation, but it's definitely imperative to you and your mental health, and to your guys' friendship. All right, I hope that was good advice. But anyways, I love you. Thanks for calling. All right, we've got another call here. Ooh, this one's 3 minutes long. All right, let's get into it.
Hi, my name is Julia, and right now I am completely crashing out over my boyfriend of, like, more or less 2 years now. And really, I think my main issue is that I'm crashing out over straight men in general and the, like, gall and wherewithal that they have.
Love that.
So it's a very long story, but I'll keep it short. He cheated on me last summer. He had like a job at a theme park, okay? And he had this job. He cheated on me with this girl that he was working with. I took him back. We've been back and forth now for a year. I tell him, hey, like, if you go back to the theme park, I can't do it anymore. And he's like, well, don't worry about it. I'm not, blah, blah, blah. And then come to find out, it's now July. Turns out he's been at this theme park working behind my back for the whole summer and didn't tell me. And when I like confronted him about it, he was like, oh, I thought I told you, my bad. Like, pardon? And so then he like has the nerve to get upset with me about like stifling his love for freaking roller coasters or whatever. And no apology, no nothing. And instead of anything, like, he just stopped talking to me completely after like 2 years. And so now I'm left like alone dealing with all this BS. And so yeah, I'm just wondering, like, what is your opinion on straight men? Like, how do I stop letting straight men continue to make me crash out and continue? This is like the second summer in a row that I feel a straight man has ruined. Honestly, probably more than that. Let's be for real. And so, yeah, it's to the point now, and like, not to get too like dumpy on you, but like, it's to the point where I'm not able to enjoy life. I'm constantly upset. It's hard for me to eat. It's hard for me to sleep. And for what? For a dude who the only job he can get at 25 years old is working at a theme park as like, he can't even be a lifeguard. He tried to be a lifeguard, couldn't do it, so they made him a water slide attendant. So yeah, thank you for letting me have my moment. My therapist is on vacation for the whole month of July, so I appreciate you.
Oh my God. What? Let me see. What was her name?
Hi, my name is Julia.
Julia. Julia. Wow. Wow. Trying to process all of that, first of all. I'm also thinking about my days working at a theme park. I actually worked at Disney in 2019, did the Disney College program. And I feel like I worked with a lot of like straight guys like that. Um, yeah, I had a lot of girlfriends that would date these guys. I think there's just some kind of special category there, subgenre of men that are like theme park straight men that love like the roller coasters and thrill rides of it all. You know what I mean? Um, and they really like to talk. They like to, check out the other ride attendants while they're, hitting their little red button. I guess they're just not entertained enough at work. They've got to start cheating, I guess, or yeah. I don't know how to define straight men or how to understand them. I don't think I ever will. I don't know if anyone ever will. I think, um, there are. I just want you to know, which I hate to say this, and unfortunately, it is true. There are good straight men out there. Um, I know a few. So they're not all bad. They're not all cheaters. They're not all sleazy and go behind your back and whatnot. So don't, first of all, just know that there's a guy out there that's going to treat you better and treat you right. You sound young. And I don't want you, and I'm talking to you like you're bestie because you're a fan of the podcast, you're listening, you're a bestie, okay? Um, I don't want you wasting another summer being stirred up about this guy, okay? Listen, I get it. You're in love, and it's probably difficult to picture yourself alone. There's something about being in your early 20s, you feel like you have to be with somebody. I think it's because you're out on your own for the first time, you are not living with your parents, you're not in college anymore. If that's where you're at in life, it sounded like maybe early 20s. Um, oh yeah, he said he was 25, so maybe you're around that age too. There's just something about that age. I think a lot of us have some kind of insecurity, and we want to feel, like we have a person to come home to at night, or like to share things with. And like a lot of us do that by having best friends instead. You know what I mean? And I think that's important to remember too. Um, I just think that this guy is bad news. Um, just off the bat, that's how I'll start by saying that. Um, the cheating, you know, that's rough. Good for you for like um, letting that slide. Or not, I don't want to say that. Letting him come back into your life after he did that, because that was a betrayal of your trust. Um, yeah, and you know what? A lot of people say once a cheater, always a cheater, and you don't want to believe that, especially like when they come back and they're like, "I'm sorry, I'll never do it again," that kind of thing. Um, so maybe it's not always true. Maybe people do stop, but this guy sounds like he's fitting right into that stereotype of men who once they do it, they're never gonna, they're always gonna do it. You know what I mean? So because of this whole sneaking away to this theme park and working there behind your back, that is insane, girl. Um, and then he stopped talking to you. Yeah, I'm sorry. 2 years with this guy, and he's kind of put you through hell. But what I will say is, I hope that at the end of the day, once you've healed and processed this, and it sounds like, or you said you're in therapy, which that's great. A lot of people are scared of going to therapy, including myself. Um, so, that's great to hear that you are in therapy. You're going to talk through those issues once your therapist is back. But we're happy to have you here at Club Crave. In the meantime, call back, next week if you need to. Crash out some more. And update us on the situation. But I will say, I hope are able to take this as a learning experience. And when you decide to re-enter the dating pool, whether that's, next week if you wanted to, or a year or two from now, if that's what you wanted, you will be a little bit more aware of red flags. And you'll have some boundaries set up. You know what I mean? You want to not have those walls too high up, because that can stop you from letting other people in. But just be aware of things. I'm sure you can think back of like red flags that you saw in this guy early on. You know what I mean? And it's easy to do. What do they call it? Like a supercut? That's what Lord calls it, anyways. Supercut is like a highlight reel of the positive moments, the loving moments that you guys had together, the moments where he said the right thing at the right time, But does that compare, and does that outweigh those negative feelings you've been feeling? And it doesn't sound like so, because, 2 summers, you feel like you've wasted on this guy, it just doesn't sound worth it. So again, I wouldn't, if he calls you back, which he probably will eventually, don't pick up. If you need closure, I get it, but do that in a way where you are fully processed everything, so you don't, fall into any kind of manipulation he might throw your way. Because the facts are the facts, you know what I mean? He cheated on you, one, and two, he probably cheated on you again. I mean, I hate to say that, at this theme park that he worked at all summer and hid that behind your back. So I don't know. He sounds toxic. He sounds like not a life partner. So, life partners are hard to come by. They are hard to find. And when you do find the right one, okay? You know that this guy's not long term. You know he's not the father to your children if you want to have children one day. He's not, the man that you want to stand beside and grieve the loss of your parents with. That's kind of morbid, but that's something you got to think about, when picking a life partner. Do you want this person to be the one that's by your side when your parents pass away? And they're the ones that are going to be helping you get through that, That's really deep shit, but it's stuff you got to think about. Anyways, thank you for calling, love. I appreciate you sharing all that with us here at the Club Crave podcast, and I hope that my words somewhat helped a little bit. But yeah, he's not the one. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but definitely process it all and just take everything you've learned in that relationship and know that it's not totally wasted time. Like, you probably grew a lot in those 2 years. You made good memories, I'm sure, too, along with the bad that you can look back on. But yeah, I just would say, just look out next time. Look a little bit harder for those red flags. When a friend tells you there's something weird with this guy, listen to them, okay? I've had a lot of girlfriends with guys that I saw the red flags, but they couldn't see the red flags, and I've tried to tell them, and they don't really listen because they're so in love, or they're so like, the rose-colored glasses of it all. So anyways, that's my advice. Sending you all the love, and I'm hoping that you can get through this and process all of that, because that's hard. That's tough stuff when you're young too, So anyways, I love you. Okay, I found a voicemail that we can listen to. It's a shorter one to wrap things up with here.
Hi. Sorry, got a little nervous there. But hey, Nick and Club Crave.
Hi.
I met you at the Ryman at Trisha's Nashville show.
Love.
And I was just listening to your podcast about Trisha Paytas. And also, I accidentally left you a 2-minute message before this. Please ignore that. That was an accident. I was trying to call, my phone blacked out or whatever, but I left a 2-minute message. So please ignore that. But anyways, when I saw Chris at the Ryman, I got lots of videos, and, of course, as one does, I posted some onto TikTok. And when I woke up the next morning, I was really sad because I saw a bunch of haters commenting on the post, commenting things about her body, which was disturbing. Obviously, 7 months pregnant, and that's just rude to say to any woman in general to comment on her body, but especially a pregnant woman. So, yeah, that really rubbed me the wrong way. I went in and deleted every comment, because, comments aren't worth it to me if people are going to be haters and negative. But later, though, Moses did leave a comment on my TikTok, which made up for the haters. But, yeah, it just makes me sad that people are still like that in 2025. But at least I can crash out about it to you. Thanks.
Oh, that was a very sweet voicemail. I don't think she said her name. First of all, Moses, if you guys went to the tour and posted a video of Trish at all during the tour, you probably got a comment from Moses with his little emojis. He's always watching. I always say that. One time he was on one of my live streams. I didn't know it. And I mentioned how Moses is everywhere. And I said, Moses, if you're watching, hi. And all of a sudden, Moses Hackman comes across my screen and says, hi. He was watching without clicking into it. So I couldn't see that he was watching. And then when I met him, he was like, yeah, I was cooking and I was kind of just scrolling and was listening to your live. I was like, that's so sweet. So yeah, Moses is always watching. We love you, Moses. But yeah, that sucks. Sometimes these videos get picked up by the wrong side of the internet. You know what I mean? The algorithm takes them to the hater side of the Trisha world, because there's a lot of haters out there. And it sounds like you watched my Trisha Paytas deep dive, and it was all about the haters. It was supposed to be a deep dive into Trisha lore itself, but really, I just went hard on these haters. So if you want to hear me crashing out about the haters, go watch that video. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot of haters out there, so that's a bummer. And why do people got to talk about body sizes? Really? It's 2025. Obviously, she's pregnant. She's Trisha K. Paytas. She's an icon. She's up there dancing, working her butt off. I miss the tour so much. I miss it. I miss seeing her go hard on stage and just tear it up. But anyways, yeah, sucks that happened, but I'm glad Moses made it up, by commenting and sharing his love. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening to the Club Crave podcast today. I'm your host, Nick Williams. Come back and see us next week. And in the meantime, if you haven't watched our previous episodes, go binge them. We've got some fun episodes out. Me and my husband crash out about all kinds of fun stuff. And then I have a Trisha Paytas deep dive, which I mentioned. And that was me just going hard for the haters and highlighting, how awful they can be sometimes, and talking and kind of giving you the counter arguments. You can use those counter arguments, y'all, when they come at you if you post about Trisha. Trisha really should be, I think, A-list. She's a great role model for people, and these haters are kind of bringing her down and not allowing her to get to that next step of fame. So anyways, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, and I love y'all. Bye, divas.